So during this period in Ohio, we start touring, meaning that up till this point, I've mainly been doing 3-day horsemanship clinics all over the country, 5-day horsemanship clinics, 10-day horsemanship clinics if they come to the ranch. That's when the tour was born, okay? Well, when I say born, we were actually doing some of it in Illinois, but more on a low scale, okay, lower scale. But we really took off in Ohio, and we started doing anywhere from 15 to 25 tours a year. And the tours in the beginning was a Friday night colt starting demo from like 6 to 9 p.m. And then from 8 in the morning to 5 p.m., it was the 2-day tour, similar to what you see today, but obviously some different. Every 2 or 3 years, we'd change up the schedule and demos and all that kind of stuff. But in that stage, I'm touring, on average, 18, 19, 20 tours a year. I'm still on the road doing clinics a ton. I'm still doing a bunch of filming. I was either doing a tour, doing a clinic, or filming. That was pretty much my fucking life, day after day after day. Those 3 things on repeat, one. So as I gathered more money up, I usually spent more money in trying to get bigger and better and that kind of stuff. So the reason why I started doing the touring is because I could reach more people. So for example, back in those days you might reach 50 people at a clinic for 3 days. Well, I'm thinking, well, fuck, there's only 50 people here. How can I reach 1,000 people for the same 3 days? So I figured out in the tours I could reach more people with the same amount of talking and time invested and make more money. So to me, it became a no-brainer. Do more tours and do less clinics. So that's the real reason is, again, if you want to grow your business, it's about exposure. It's about how many people can I influence to come see me. So obviously television was the ultimate, wasn't it? Because you could film one time, put that TV show on TV, and hundreds of thousands of people saw it. So we were still doing the equine expos at that point, and they were good too because there's several thousand people would show up to them. So there was 4 or 5 expos a year, big ones, major ones that you would go to. RFD was by far the biggest driving force in my career for many years. And then the tours were a major driving force as well. So those 3 pillars, TV, tours, and expos, is how you got new blood. See, the thing that people underestimate about what I do for my whole career, I'm like a blood bank. You know how blood banks are always looking for blood donations? Come donate blood, come donate blood. They never can have too much blood. That's the same thing in my business. My average customer only hangs around 3 years. We've done many studies on this. On average, my customer stays 3 years. Obviously, this customers have been with me for life, but on average, they stay about 3 years. And we've done a lot of marketing on this, and they stay 3 years most of the time because they're happy. After 3 years, I've showed them how to train their horse. They no longer have trouble with their horse, and they're happy. So guess what they do? They move on. So what a lot of people do that try to do what I do is they think that they get on TV. A lot of people thought, I'll just get on TV like Clinton and this thing will be easy. It's not that easy. There's been dozens of horse trainers that have got on RFD TV and failed because you constantly need to be feeding the animal. So by gathering doing tours, doing clinics and the TV, I'm constantly getting new blood coming in. Because as I've got new blood coming in, old blood's dying. People are dropping out of the club because they're happy. Most of the time they left not because they were unhappy, because they were happy. I got them the information they needed and so forth. That's why I always get a kick out of, every 4 or 5 years I'll get a young person come through my business and I'll kind of somewhat make them popular. And then they'll think, fuck that Clinton, I don't need Clinton no more, I'm going to go out on my own. So here's what happens. It happens every time. The first year they go out on their own, it looks easy because they still got my customer base. My customers know their names and who they are. So for the first year, they make bank. Oh, this is easy. I should have competed against Clinton years ago. And then the second year, half those people drop out. And then the third year, all of them drop out. And that's when it gets difficult because the third year, you really got to start spending a lot of money on marketing to get that new blood in. People underestimate the grind of this. They think it's just getting on TV and making a few videotapes and doing some shit. It's a grind. And after about year 3, the grind really kicks in. And for the next 7 years, you got to spend everything you make, you better reinvest it in that business, reinvest it in that business, reinvest it in that business. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I would not like to start my career again today. If you say, Clinton, if you could go back to a 20-year-old Clinton and start your career again, how would you feel? I wouldn't feel good about it. When I came into the United States in 1997, started the business in 1998, there was a big flux of money. The dot-com era, there was a big flux of money. The natural horsemanship industry was taking off. Clinicians were taking off. There was like a river of money flowing. And I was smart enough to see it. I jumped in the river and I paddled like a son of a bitch downstream. I didn't just sit there and let the current take me. I fucking hauled ass down there with it. Today, here's what's there. There's a river of money, but guess what? There's no current. The water's stagnant. So if you jump in that river, that horsemanship river, you have to literally row your entire way down that river. There's no current taking you down the river. When I jumped in it, there was a current. So you might say, Clinton, you got lucky. Sure, I'm not going to disagree with that. But I was also smart enough to walk like an animal, to paddle with the current. I could have gone in the current and just, lazy boy drifted down the river. I paddled as fast as I could, going the direction of the river. It's not new anymore. That tsunami wave has very much hit the beach, and it ain't ever going to go back to the glory days again. It's still good for me, but it's not going to go back to the glory days.